Loan officers spend thousands of dollars every year on different types of software. But the question is, do those softwares actually help you close more business? It's because of that question is why I made this video, and we're gonna make a tier list of the 8 most common types of software loan officers use and rank them from S, meaning you gotta have it, to F means stop wasting your money. Now, what did I base these tiered rankings on? Well, here's my criteria. One is ease of use. Is it easy for you to use or is it difficult? If it's difficult and has a high degree of learning, it means you're gonna spend too much time trying to learn that, and that's gonna take you away from doing the things that's generating business. Also, I factor in the cost to use. For some loan officers, cost not a big deal. Others is that you got to scratch every penny right now, or you just want to make sure you're not wasting money. So if it's very expensive, that's not gonna do as hot. Is it helpful? Well, you would think that if you're buying the software that it is helpful, but in many cases, some softwares are actually not very helpful. Now, here's the 4th criteria, and this is something I call, is it whipped cream or is it meat? Whipped cream, you know whipped cream, looks good, tastes good, smells good, but there's no substance to it, and you have too much of it, it's gonna make you sick. Well, there's a lot of different types of things out there that I call whipped cream, where it looks good, tastes good, smells good, but there's no substance to it, and if you have too much of it, it's gonna make you sick. There's actually a lot of softwares that are like that. Versus meat, now if you're vegetarian, you get my analogy here. If it's meat, is that it's got some nutritional value, give you some sustenance to actually help you grow, build some muscles and such. So is it whipped cream or is it meat? And then the last big criteria, does it actually lead to business? Now there's some softwares that you might need that don't directly lead to business. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about softwares that they position themselves as that they're gonna help you generate and close more business. All right, so what's the first one that we're gonna talk about? And is agent production software. I'm not gonna use any names of these companies, by the way, is because it doesn't really matter, and but I'm not gonna use the name, I'm just gonna use generally what topics they cover. So agent production software. This is where software pulls the production data on realtors. And for me, is it easy to use? Yes. There are some that are easier than others, but for a majority of them, they're pretty darn easy. You say what areas you're looking for and it'll pull up their production. Easy peasy. Cost to use, it's gonna cost you a couple $100. Now, if some of them have different rules on cost where exporting and cost of exporting, the bigger the list you export, it's gonna have some more cost to it. So that can run you even more. Like I've spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on these types of lists. Is it helpful? I think it's incredibly helpful. If I'm gonna meet with the realtor or you're gonna meet with the realtor and you're gonna spend time trying to develop that relationship, you wanna make sure they actually have the production to make it worth your time. So very, very helpful. Whipped cream, where it means that it just sounds good in theory, but it's not good, or is it meat? This is meat. And there's not many softwares that I recommend to every single loan officer, but an agent production one, assuming you want to work with agents, they got to have. And so does this lead to business? It does, because it causes you to focus on the right realtors and the ones with production. So this immediately is getting a S tier. This is a software, if you want to work with realtors, you gotta have an agent production type of software. Next is CRMs. Hey, real quick, if you're a loan officer or a branch manager and your business is stuck, whether it's because you don't have enough business coming in or you're having trouble getting the business closed, I want to help you. I do free loan officer hot seats where I invite loan officers on one at a time and I help them fix the biggest issue in their business that's stopping them from to grow. Now, if this is something that interests you, in the description is an intake form. Fill that out, let me know a little bit about your business, and I'll personally review it. If it's something I think that it can help, then my team will reach out to you and we'll get you scheduled for one of our upcoming hot seats. Ease of use, woo-wee. This depends the CRM. There's every type of CRM. People always ask, what's the best CRM to get? And the old adage is, it's the one you use. And I actually believe that and agree with that. And so ease of use, it depends what functionality and all that stuff. So ease of use goes from very simple to very, very difficult. I say very, very difficult because you can build all these things inside of it and flows and all that stuff. So there's a wide range of things when it comes to the degree of difficulty of a CRM. Cost to use, cheap to very, very expensive. When I say very expensive, I know some that are like $500 a month, and that's before you even get into any of the consumables like sending texts and all that kind of stuff. So there's a wide range in cost as well for CRMs. Is it helpful? Yes, if you use it. If it's something that just sits there, collects dust, I don't know if CRMs can actually collect dust, but you get the idea. If you use it, even if you only use portions of it, that can absolutely be very helpful, keep you on track, help make sure you're not losing, your leads, your pre-approval, stay in touch with your past clients. So yes, very, very helpful. Whipped cream or meat? The core features I would say are meat. A lot of CRMs, they have whipped cream. Now, that's even loan officer dependent because some loan officers will use those features, but for most loan officers, they're only using 20% of the features, and which goes with the Pareto principle, right? You know, people get most of the stuff from only 20% of what they do, and then you have 80% that you never touch or look at. It sounds pretty cool, and so in that case, is it a whipped cream or meat? I'm gonna go overall meat, but there tends to be some whipped cream thrown on that meat. Does it lead to business? Yes, if you use it. I mentioned that before, if you use it. So I'm gonna put a CRM at a tier. I'm gonna go S tier. I was thinking A tier first, but this is something every loan officer needs. Now, I've closed a lot of business with just Google Sheets, but even that's kind of a CRM. So no, I don't use that anymore, but I've done it. But to help you manage your database, it's huge. CRM, that's an S tier. Agent value added software. Now, that's kind of a weird title. I didn't want to give away any names of companies that I'm thinking of on this, but this is essentially a software that says, hey, present this to your realtors and it's going to wow the realtors and they're going to want to work with you. And so it could maybe make very fast open house flyers or something along those lines, or really cool web pages for it and all that stuff. So it looks really cool, right? You know, those types of softwares. Not going to use any names, but you get the idea. Ease of use, most of those that I have seen, they're actually very easy to use. They have a good user experience, UI, which is great. Cost to use, most of them are pretty darn cheap, though I've seen some of them as that if you use them more and more, like you upload more database in there, it gets progressively more expensive. But generally speaking, it's not too expensive to use. Is it helpful? It's helpful to open up conversations with realtors. I have this thing that can bring value to your business, right? It can open up conversations. Whipped cream or meat? I'm gonna say in almost every case, with a few outliers, it's whipped cream. Most of the things are whipped cream because the realtors don't ever use it, right? And if they don't actually use it, it doesn't do any good. And if they use it, it doesn't actually really generate results. It's that stuff that just looks really cool, but it doesn't do anything. So does it lead to business? Possibly short term, where like, oh, the realtor gets impressed with it, and so they send you a few deals, but then when they see that the thing that you presented to them doesn't actually generate results for them, they're not gonna work with you because they feel like you pulled the rug underneath them, you bait and switch them. So I am going to put this as an F tier. Now I will say there are a couple exceptions that I would say are S tier if done correctly, but for the vast majority of them, they are F tiers. Database monitoring software. This is where your past clients go into whatever monitoring software is, and then if they have their credit pulled for a mortgage, you get notified of it. So there's several different ones out there. Ease to use, once it's set up, it's very easy because most you can set up to have it automatically go from your closing, automatically get fed in there. So once it's set up, it's very easy. Cost to use, depends how big your database is, but the bigger the database, the bigger the opportunity for it. Is it helpful? I think it's very helpful. If my past clients are thinking about a mortgage and have their credit pulled, I want to know that. There are other database monitoring softwares that if they list their house, you get notified of those types of things too, so we can throw that in there. Is this whipped cream? It's meat. It's meat. It gives you a huge sign, a huge buying opportunity sign. I pulled my credit for my mortgage, for a potential mortgage on there for whatever reason, that's something that's very, very useful if you use it. Now, does this lead to business? Yes, if you actually use it. I know loan officers that have these things, but they never make the calls, they never reach out, so it doesn't do any good. But database monitoring, I'm gonna make this an A tier. The only reason why it's an A tier, it's a little reactive, but it's a great opportunity. And if you don't have a big database of past clients, it's not going to do loan officers and do much for those types of loan officers. Database housing reports. So these are where on a monthly basis, your past clients or your realtor's past clients, if you can add them in there, receive a monthly report, what's going on with their house, the value of their house, and so on and so forth. And so that's what that does. It's a way for you to stay in touch with some sort of value add for your past clients. Ease of use, very easy. So long as you have a setup where you don't have to manually upload it every single time, which usually there are integrations where you can have it push from your closing right into that system. So easy, cost to use. Depends on the software. Some are more flat fees. Some of them are progressively increase in cost depending on how big your database are. So that varies on there. Is it helpful? It can be very helpful if you take advantage of the alerts and the notifications. So if somebody says that, hey, I'm interested in a CMA, or hey, I have a question about my value. Hey, I'm looking to do something with my equity here, because they'll create these types of triggers. It's very helpful if you reach out to them and talk with them. A whipped cream or meat. I would view these as meat because it does generate for you legitimate opportunities, and it's just kind of set it and forget it type of thing. And does it lead to business? Yes, it does. It leads to business if you follow up with them. Now, I'm gonna make this a B tier. The reason why I make this a B tier is because I find the reports overall, yes, it stays in front of them, but when somebody receives something that's the same pretty much every single month on there, it's kind of easy to ignore. And so I recommend, if you're using a software like this, is that you don't use that as the only thing to stay in touch with your realtors, is because over time they will start to ignore it. And you don't want to ignore, or it's even getting to them at all. It might be going to their spam folder or something like that. So that's why I have it as a B tier. Loan estimate presenting software. So this is the software where you can compile different loan options for your borrowers and go over the different options for them. Ease of use, some are easier than others. There's generally a moderate learning curve, nothing too difficult in order how to use them. So I wouldn't say it's very difficult, but it's not something that you're gonna get instantly. It's something that'll take you a few times to go through the videos and such to learn how to do. Cost to use, most of them, around $200 a month, some are lower, so not super expensive, but it could be a lot for some loan officers, especially if you don't have many clients you are bringing to this stage. It might not be worth it, but if you have a lot of clients you're doing reports for, it'd be more worth that cost. Is it helpful? I find these to be more helpful for the analytical buyers, is that want and demand all these different options. For some loan officers, they actually sell themselves out of things because they're presenting too many options and it confuses the borrower. And so in my opinion, this is not even something that you would use on every single client, though I know some do and do very well with it. So there's always exceptions to it. But can it be helpful? Yes, it can be helpful, especially for those people that are very analytical, or they're legitimately looking at things in depth, where should I do the 15-year? Should I do the 30? If they're legitimately looking at that. Most people aren't looking at a variety of different options. Is this whipped cream or meat? When positioned correctly and used correctly, and it's meat. If it's something where you just create the report and send to the borrower and don't review it with them, it becomes whipped cream. It makes it very easy for them just to take that and send it to another lender, by the way, and you don't build the relationship that you would and the rapport you would if you actually reviewed with them over the video conference or something like that. Does it lead to business? I don't think it leads directly to business. Yes, some might be impressed and refer you to somebody, but more what it's designed to do for you to increase your conversion percentage. So if you're having struggles converting your leads into clients because they go to someplace else, this could be very helpful for you, as that's going to up your level of perceived professionalism on there, and maybe make you feel more confident and when you're doing these presentations. And so I'm going to put LE presenting software as a B tier. Mortgage market software. And this is where you monitor what the mortgage-backed securities are doing, what the bond market's doing, all that stuff and whatnot, getting alerts and all that kind of thing. Ease of use, yes, I've seen several that are out there. Some make it very easy to digest what's going on. Some make it more complicated on there. But for the most part, yes, it makes it easy to know what's going on in the market, why the rates have gone up, why they're going down, and having that information. Cost to use, some are very cheap, some too are a couple $100. I've seen everywhere in between. Is it helpful? If you're a loan officer that tries to time the market, meaning that, hey, should we lock or should I float? And I'm going to float, I'm a borrower, we're going to float because I'm going to try to get you better pricing or whatnot. It's very helpful for that. If your loan officer is like, well, I'm going to lock the rate as soon as possible, as long as they're within that lock time frame, I'm going to lock, it's not as helpful. And so I've always been a loan officer, let's lock you in. And if we have to change things up, we'll deal with it at that particular time. It works great. I know loan officers that close 200 some million a year and they couldn't even tell you what MBS stood for, that kind of stuff. So it can be helpful for some loan officers. Is it whipped cream or is it meat? I'm calling it whipped meat. So it's the two mixed together. For many loan officers, it's whipped cream because they don't really use it. They just fill themselves up with knowledge that make them feel better, but they don't do anything with it. So in that case, it's whipped cream. Others, they really use it and they do it very good job of it. Does it lead to business? It more, I feel, that can lead to increasing your conversion percentage, because if you can speak really well on what's going on with the market, they're going to perceive you as, well, you're much more knowledgeable than those loan officers on there. So it definitely can help you increase your conversion percentage. But overall, I'm going to make this a C tier. Last one is AI. So artificial intelligence, I can't even go into all the different ones out there. What's the ease of use? It's simple to complex and everywhere in between. Very simple prompts to creating AI agents and all that different stuff. So simple to complex. Cost to use, free to more expensive. And more expensive, you know, some people have multiple subscriptions to multiple AIs and all the uses that you're using it for. But hopefully if you're doing that, you're getting some good results out of it. Is it helpful? Yes, it can be very helpful, but here's where the danger is. I see loan officers, they spend way more time on AI stuff than they are in getting business. So if it's taking you away from getting your business, it's not gonna be very helpful for you, even if you get that thing to get built out, because in a matter of time, somebody else will do it for you and you can just buy it for a subscription very cheap, right? And so it's can be very helpful, but actually can be also very distracting. Whipped cream or meat, both. Is because I see also loan officers, they use it for things that doesn't actually help their business at all, and others that it's actually helping them, saving them tons of time. And so I would lean more to meat overall though. Does it lead to business? Not necessarily directly, unless you're building out AI agents and stuff that are doing things for you and doing outreach and all that kind of stuff. Generally more of a time saver and free you up more time so you can go after and get more business. That's where I see for most use cases for most loan officers can use. I know some come up and they've worked ways to show up in searches when people look, hey, what's a loan officer in my area? But generally speaking, it's not necessarily directly leading to business, but freeing you up time so you can get more business. Now, is this F tier or S tier? Somewhere in between, is that it can be F tier for loan officers that get lost in it and stop doing the things that drive them business. But I'm gonna move this to S tier because of the things they can do to save time, but also where it's heading is that you need to know AI because it's here, it's coming, this is the worst it's ever going to get. It's only to get better. So that definitely has to be on the S tier. And so there you go. Here's some softwares. Hopefully, I can save you some money and you find some softwares that are whipped cream for you that you don't really need, and others that you see as, you know what, maybe I really need to get that. And so I made it really a point not to mention any particular softwares because, again, it doesn't matter to me and that. I just want to try to help loan officers out. So give me a like, subscribe, share this with other loan officers, and I will see you on the next video.